Hey, friends, I just wanted to touch base with you and give you a word of encouragement. I have a distinct memory, and I may never forget this, from just less than 3 weeks ago, the last time we got together for worship. I remember connecting with people in the hall, and there was this thing that people were talking about all over town, coronavirus. But at that time, it all seemed so distant and theoretical, and people were making a big deal of it. But hey, wash your hands, be smart, da da da, no big deal, and it just seemed so distant. And then as that week progressed, things seemed to be looking more serious. And hey, we better make some adjustments. And Friday we put out, hey, this is what we're going to do for worship. We're going to not have this and do this differently. And then the very next day, we suddenly realized, I don't think we can meet. And we had to cancel what felt very last minute. And that was really hard for me. The previous Sunday, things seemed fairly normal, and suddenly it felt like we had no church community. Suddenly we were quarantined, and suddenly we felt so alone. And that was hard. That was really hard. And it felt so incredibly sudden. And as the Journey Church, one of our core values is being radically relational. And so, what does that mean for us? What does it mean for us to be radically relational when we can't get together for the foreseeable future? For years I've heard people make comments like, "Oh, I don't go to church. I just worship in my car, singing with the Christian radio station," or "I don't go to church. I experience God when I walk through nature." And those may be good personal experiences, but I'm always saddened when I hear comments like that, because I think you're missing out on so much of what the Christian faith is about. The Christian faith isn't an individualized experience or a personal experience of spirituality. While those are encouraging and those are good, but our faith is really relational. And one thing that this virus has reminded me of is just how relational the Christian faith is. There are great personal spiritual experiences, but boy, do we miss out when we can't meet together, when we can't sit next to each other, when we can't sing alongside of each other, when we can't have those personal conversations and care for each other one-on-one. And so we have to ask ourselves, what does it mean to be the church from a distance? What does it mean to be a church community when we can't sit alongside of each other? And frankly, it does require a lot more intentionality. We need to find ways to stay connected together. I know some, and I've been thinking about this lately, some in our church community really haven't known each other for very long. What does it mean to continue to develop those budding relationships when we can't meet together? And so I have one very simple and specific suggestion for our church, but I think this should be utilized by anybody. But for us, use our online church directory. And that seems so simple, and it is. But if you are a part of the Journey Church, you can go to instantchurchdirectory.com. Just go to that website right after watching this video. And if we have your email address on file, then you have access to our church directory. Toward the top, you'll see a button that says church member sign in. If you've never used this before, you can go to create login. You can put in the email address that we have on file, create your password, and boom, you've got it. And so do that. And the first thing I want you to do is take a look at your information. Make sure that it's all up to date and correct, that we have all that we need. If you don't have a picture on there, please send me one so that we can get one uploaded. Again, we have some who are newer to the church community and others who've been part of it for a while, and those pictures are helpful in making those connections. But use this then as a way to connect. Look through the directory for to think of people to be praying for or to reach out to. Give them a call, send them a letter, make those connections, and just utilize these things. The things that we can do to stay connected: phone calls, sending messages, writing letters, doing Zoom chats, they're not difficult. But like anything in a relationship, they do require intentionality. And during this time, this season that may last for a while, I really encourage you to stay connected. And we have the resource of instantchurchdirectory.com. So use it. Make sure that your information is correct so other people can use it. And it's just one simple way to lean into this. And if you are from a different church that happens to be watching this, there's some other directory probably that you can connect with as well, that ways that you can be intentional about reaching out to your church family as well. What does it mean to be relational when we have to be distant? It means being intentional and finding creative ways to connect, even if they're not ideal or preferred or easy, that we're still making the opportunities to reach out to one another so that people don't feel isolated and alone. So God bless us as we continue to walk through this difficult time together, and may we continue to encourage and resource each other in any way that we can during this time. God bless.